So earlier we were starting to talk about balance and lifestyle, and it sounds like in your career you've had some obstacles, but for the most part it's been an upward trajectory. So would you say that the rest of your life has been in balance, or when one is in balance, something else is off?
Well, I'm balancing more now than ever. I mean, in that grind to make it, a lot of relationships or childhood relationships fell by the wayside just because, when you're trying to make it, you tend to get, some people get into the mindset, I gotta do whatever, you know what I mean? And everybody else gotta understand. They just have to understand.
Do you feel like you just didn't care, or did you feel like you just knew you had to stay focused, or what was the message that, you can see what the message was that they received, but what was in your heart about it?
Oh, in my heart, it was like, I'm not going back to Detroit. I'm not failing. I'm not going to have what ifs, And then once the confirmation started, it was like, you buy something and you say, well, I wonder if I buy that one, and if I buy that one and I start to collect, well, if you work with one superstar, you start to say, well, maybe I can get to this one, maybe I can get to that one. And you get on this grind, and if you start traveling, the same thing. So I had this thing to try to make it to all the ones that I had literally thought about. Now, I wanted to try and keep getting to each person, so that meant more, I thought, than hanging with friends or family or doing things. And then when a holiday come, you're sitting by yourself, or you know. When I came to LA, there would be times where I would sit in a restaurant and I would pretend I'm a food critic, but I was by myself, just eating, and I didn't want to feel, out of place. So, I'd be sitting in the theater, by myself, and then I realized, something's not right.
Yeah.
If I'm south of France and I call back to the States to speak to someone, and I would try to describe it or I'd take pictures, but it's not the same as taking someone back there to share it with them.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I just started to learn the meaning of balancing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what about your balance related to being a parent?
Yeah, I mean, there were points where I wasn't the best dad, not because of how I treated him, but because I wasn't around. And then I realized that those times don't come back. So I started to, be at the events, be at the parent-teacher conferences, be at the new way that they plan on teaching the kids, and I'm falling asleep because I just got home at 2-3 hours before. But to them, it meant everything, And again, if I can do it for friends or family, I definitely have to be able to do it for my kids, because this is the time to create the memories, or just memories with anybody, memories with you. I'm sitting here creating a memory with you. That's, to me, I realized what life is about to a degree, creating memories, dropping that pebble and just seeing that ripple. And sometimes that pebble is the time you spend with somebody, or the time you spend talking to somebody. We talked about it once where we talked about texting and how people can, misconstrue a text.
Oh, yeah.
And, technology has taken us there, but that doesn't mean that we have to just use that. You know what I mean? Especially when you see two people sitting next to each other at a dinner table texting, or not even talking, but they're spending time together, but they're not spending time together.
Or that it's supposed to, in some way, be a substitute. But really, our biggest gift is our time that we can give to somebody. So I'm so grateful that you're here with me today, because I know how busy you are, and the time is a gift.
Well, I'm never that busy. That's what I tell myself. Again, that's that balance. I have to tell myself, to take the time.
Well, it seems like, just really quick, relating to reinventing yourself, that, obviously you still are on the path of, with your music career, but you've also opened your focus to teaching. So tell me about what you get out of teaching, and how that's expanded you.
If you think about the religion or the church, and they talk about tithing, you give to receive or to get back. Well, I don't think it's just money. I don't think it's just to God or to the church. I think if you give your knowledge, you give your time, you give your love, you know what I mean? You get that back also. It's just how you look at it, you know what I mean? But imagine taking 10% of your time to spend with someone, or 10% of your love just to 10% of your time to show your love, or 10% of your time to share your knowledge, right? What would you get back from that? So as I started to teach, I started to receive a higher understanding of what I was teaching someone, because they would look at it from a novice or a beginner level, and they would ask questions that would make me think, which would make me think of how do I express this to where they can see it quicker. And it made me rethink some things that I hadn't thought about, because I didn't have to think about them for so long, about getting started or doing certain things or motivation or getting through hard points. But